سيعمل مع الجميع لدفعها حتى نراها واقعا ينعم الجميع بفوائده
success so that everybody can benefit from the prosperity of this cooperation. And Sudan would like to announce its desire to be a bridge between the African continent and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Attendees, I would like to inform you about what is happening in Sudan, because all of us are aware of what is happening in Sudan. What is happening in Sudan due to the rapid response force and all of the humanitarian crises they have done in Sudan, these criminals and terrorists and their support for criminals and terrorists all around the world. And when they were unable to take over the country from their first coup, they started a policy of salted earth and started to assault Sudan's resources, its culture, and its capabilities. They took over citizens' homes. They took their resources. They raped their women. They destroyed the infrastructure. They destroyed hospitals and service areas and government buildings and other industrial facilities in order to achieve their greedy goals and their forced displacement of peoples. And what is happening now in Darfur is a war crime. And we see images of this every day. And they are displacing African peoples in order for them to give it to other peoples. And they are using fear and terrorism to achieve their goals. So they also are supported by mercenaries from various countries around the world. Gentlemen, ladies, these tribal fights and conflicts are bleeding Sudan, and this is one of the ways where rebel groups and these outlaw groups seeking support and are getting support by certain countries in the region and internationally, and they are partners in these atrocities that the Sudanese people have been facing. And unfortunately, some countries and organizations, regionally and internationally, we're talking about justifying, or we're talking about equity between a rebel group and the government that they have rebelled against. These rebel groups that have committed genocides. These rebel groups we have come to the negotiating table at every time they called for it, and we tried to discuss with them, to negotiate in multiple areas. And the most important and the most well-known was in Jeddah, where in May of this year, we agreed, however, for them to leave the houses of civilians and to go to designated areas. Unfortunately, they did not follow that declaration, and they continue their operations until yesterday. And as we are negotiating, they are continuing with their crimes and their killings and their reaping of the people of Darfur and other regions, and their ignorance and their ignoring of the international law. Therefore, we would like to provide thanks to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for its continuous resolve, and we note our appreciation for their support for the unity of Sudan and its stability. And we thank the United States of America and the IGAD countries and their chairman, and the African Union and the nations neighboring Sudan for all of their support for to stop the war. And I would like to once again say that these we condemn with the strongest language the acts of these barbarous rebel groups. And we must stop their activities, their heinous activities, to return prosperity and stability to the people of Sudan. We thank and appreciate our brothers in Sudan that have supported its unity and stability, and everyone that has stood with the government and the Sudanese people and those displaced. We also provide our thanks to our brothers in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for hosting this summit, and we provide our appreciation to the Friends of Sudan. And we would be remiss if we do not mention that we all feel distressed by what is happening in Gaza, from killing, displacement, and destruction. And we announce our total support for the Palestinian people and their right to have a Palestinian nation based on the borders of '67, and for the immediate cessation of assault on Gaza and allowing them to have a prosperous and dignified life. We also thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and its leadership for inviting us to attend this summit that establishes the participation between Saudi Arabia and the African continent. And thank you very much for your warm welcome, and thank you all for listening.
We thank the Burhan for his speech. Now I give the floor to the President of Somalia to deliver his speech.
In the name of Allah, most merciful, most compassionate, peace and blessing be upon our Prophet Muhammad.
Crown Prince and the Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, Your Highnesses, Heads of States, Fellows, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor, pleasure to be addressing you all in this important Africa-Saudi Summit in this beautiful capital of the brotherly Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I want to express my gratitude to the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the warm welcome and hospitality afforded to me and my delegation. Additionally, I want to express my gratitude to the organizers from the African Union and the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. From the offset, I would like to register the Somali government's concern with the ongoing situation in Gaza. We call on an immediate ceasefire and humanitarian access to assist the most vulnerable parts of the community. We also reiterate the importance of working towards the realization of the two-state solution at the earliest possible opportunity. Somalia and Saudi Arabia enjoy deep historical bonds for friendship and multifaceted cooperation that we seek to build on with the modern opportunities to spark common progress and prosperity. As a country, we are truly grateful to the Saudi government and people for their vital contribution to our successful ongoing war against the international terrorism at home. We also recognize the key role Saudi Arabia played in supporting Somalia's successful economic reform efforts, political stability, and humanitarian response to multiple climate shocks, including the most recent droughts. As Somalia, we applaud the Saudi government, led by the vision of His Majesty King Salman ibn Abdul Aziz Al Saud, the King of Saudi Arabia and the custodian of the two holy mosques, and His Highness Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince and the Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, on the evident economic success we are witnessing today. Saudi Arabia is successfully diversifying its economy, creating high-level jobs, investing in the long-term development of its citizens. In Somalia, we are working tirelessly to do the same, and as we are at the cusp of achieving debt relief, we are more confident than ever before that this can be achieved. Your Highness, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Somalia's economic strategy is to grow through trade, investment, and strong and productive regional and international partnership. As you all know, Somalia is strategically located in the Horn of Africa with one of the longest coasts in the world, a young and entrepreneurial population, and a strong digital penetration, footprints, and culture. Furthermore, our government is absolutely committed to advancing a private sector-led economic growth model which rewards investment and enterprise, with the state providing clear and advantageous investment environment. Our message is crystal clear. Somalia is open for business with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as well as with the rest of Africa. Somalia's resources are abundant and all major industries are untapped. Going forward, we can truly be among one of the world's leaders in agriculture, livestock, green energy, telecommunications, trade facilitation, blue economy, and digital innovation and connectivity, as well as becoming a continental logistics hub. Furthermore, investment in Somalia can genuinely address food security, ease the transition to green energy, and enhance Saudi Africa economic prosperity through transport and infrastructure facilities in our strategic location. The latter is even more unique to Somalia as we are members of the African Continental Free Trade Area and are aiming to achieve accession to both the East Africa Community and the Great Arab Free Trade Area by the end of this year. I'm confident that this will create boundless opportunities for joint economic cooperation, growth, and prosperity for all our people. Without doubt, Saudi-Africa relations cannot succeed without a strong partnership between our respective private sectors. In this regard, we must explore every opportunity to encourage, support, and facilitate the entrepreneurial aspirations of our wealth creators, the young generation. Your Highness, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, it's fundamental we rise together to the existing global challenges that affect us all through a strong Africa-Saudi partnership. We in Somalia are firmly committed to this as Africans and broadly ally and a friendship of Saudi Arabia. I thank you all.
أشكر فخامة الدكتور حسن الشيخ محمود على كلمته. والآن أدعو دولة الرئيس محمد علي زين محمان رئيس وزراء حكومة جمهورية النيجر لإلقاء كلمته، فليتفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم. Sa Majesté le roi Salman bin Abdelaziz Al Saoud, Altesse Mohammed bin Salman, président du Conseil des ministres, président du sommet Saoudo-Afrique, Excellences, Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, Mesdames et Messieurs, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Permettez-moi tout d'abord d'exprimer notre sincère gratitude aux serviteurs des deux grandes mosquées, Sa Majesté le roi bin Abdelaziz Al Saoud, le prince héritier Mohammed bin Salman, au gouvernement et au peuple saoudien, pour la chaleureuse hospitalité accordée à la délégation que j'ai l'honneur de conduire au nom du Niger, au nom du président du Conseil national pour la sauvegarde de la patrie, chef de l'État, le général de brigade, Abdelrahman Tchani, qui n'a pu faire ce déplacement à cause des défis que tout le monde sait qu'on impose à notre pays. La présence du Niger à ce premier sommet Afrique-Arabie saoudite témoigne de la volonté manifeste de nos plus hautes autorités, en l'occurrence le général de brigade Abdelrahman Tchani, président du Conseil national de la sauvegarde pour la patrie, chef de l'État, et de son Altesse le roi Salman bin Abdelaziz, gardien des deux saintes mosquées, et de faire de la coopération entre l'Afrique et l'Arabie saoudite une référence en matière de coopération sud-sud. Altesse, Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, le thème de cette rencontre reflète l'engagement du Royaume pour le renforcement des relations de coopération entre le continent africain et l'Arabie saoudite, qui joue un rôle substantiel dans l'économie mondiale. À ce titre, elle constitue une occasion privilégiée de mettre en lumière les opportunités d'investissement en Arabie saoudite et en Afrique et répond parfaitement aux préoccupations du continent africain en général et aux priorités du Niger en particulier. Au plan bilatéral, le Niger, qui a une très vieille coopération avec l'Arabie saoudite, regorge en effet d'importantes potentialités minières, énergétiques, hydrauliques, agricoles et animalières. La mise en valeur progressive de ce potentiel constitue le cadre de référence de toutes les interventions de l'État et de ses partenaires pour créer les conditions de la transformation structurelle de l'économie nigérienne et l'amélioration du bien-être de la population. Outre l'or, le phosphate et l'uranium dont il est un grand producteur, notre pays a procédé au lancement récemment, précisément le 1er novembre dernier, de la mise en production du pétrole brut du site d'Agadem, au nord-est du pays, cette même zone qui a vu l'arrivée des premiers messagers de l'islam en 666, c'est à une vingtaine de kilomètres de la frontière tchadienne. C'est pour dire l'ancienneté des relations de l'Arabie saoudite et du Niger. Cette opportunité qui est offerte ouvre une perspective pour le Niger d'accueillir davantage d'investisseurs. Je voudrais donc inviter par conséquent tous les partenaires à venir partager avec nous ces perspectives heureuses dans le cadre d'un partenariat qui se veut gagnant-gagnant. Altesse, Excellences, Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, aujourd'hui notre espace, le Sahel, est miné par une insécurité ayant un impact sérieux sur la paix et la sécurité internationale et nécessitant une action collective et urgente. S'il y a une préoccupation qui devrait interpeller l'ensemble des honorables dirigeants ici présents, c'est sans conteste la lutte contre ces fléaux qui compromet et même annihile les efforts de développement de nos pays. Au Niger, la détérioration continue de la situation sécuritaire et la mauvaise gouvernance économique ont conduit au coup d'État du 26 juillet 2023, dirigé par le général de brigade, son Excellence Abdelrahman Tchani, président du Conseil national pour la sauvegarde de la patrie, chef de l'État. En effet, antérieurement à ces événements, l'option prise par notre pays pour lutter contre le terrorisme était loin d'être appropriée, tandis que sur le plan de la gouvernance, les ressources du pays étaient accaparées par un groupuscule qui détournait allègrement les deniers publics sans être inquiété, en même temps que l'équipe mettait en péril nos alliances étrangères, insultait nos voisins et qui mettait dans une insécurité totale notre peuple. C'est pourquoi, dans son message à la nation adressé la veille du 3 août 2023, commémorant l'anniversaire de l'indépendance du Niger, le général de brigade Abdraman Tchani a déclaré la seule raison ayant motivé l'action du Conseil est la sauvegarde de la patrie. Il fallait faire justice à notre peuple. À la suite de ces événements, les organisations communes qui sont la CEDEAO et l'UEMOA
and for the economic development in Africa, the penalties imposed by the African Union isolated Niger and from its continent, and this situation wouldn't be acceptable at all. Such the delegation that I headed right now totally reject such attempts, and we seek to support a comprehensive development and support the good ties with our neighbors. We would like to thank Chad, which was fully committed and supported us to make peace and security prevail. And I would like to conclude my speech by reaffirming that we are grateful to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to bring us together in this country. As you know, that my country is a peace-loving country, and I would like to thank you all. And we need to have a special interest to fight terrorism, and which countries sponsor such terrorism and provide armies, and which impede peace in my country. Thank you.
Thank
وأعطي
the
الكلمة
Prime Minister of
لفخامة
Niger.
الرئيس
I give
محمد ولد
the
الغزواني
floor
رئيس جمهورية موريتانيا.
to the President of Mauritania to deliver his speech. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, and peace and blessing on our Prophet Muhammad.
خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود، صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير محمد بن سلمان ولي العهد رئيس مجلس الوزراء، أصحاب الفخامة قادة الدول الإفريقية، صاحب المعالي السيد موسى فقي رئيس مفوضية الاتحاد الإفريقي،
Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Your Excellencies, respected audience, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to express my deepest thanks and gratitude to the custodian of two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz, and to His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince, Prime Minister, for taking this initiative to convene this summit, which actually indicates their wisdom and insight and exploring the future. That's why we express our thanks to the warm hospitality accorded to us since we arrived in the kingdom. I would like also to commend my colleagues, the African heads of state, for attending this summit, which actually is signals their keenness on partnership with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And this convention of this Saudi African summit, in the context of the current situation in the world, which is very complicated and quite dangerous, actually is very indicative of our need to development and partnership, and also the coordination between us in all fields. The most daring forms of coordination today is to join ranks and take a common stand against what is afflicted on the Palestinian people in terms of genocide, mass killing, slaughtering and genocide for children, women, besiege and blockade for the Palestinian people consistently. That's actually, this dictates by our let's say our conscience, and also dictated by the international laws, and also dictated by our Arab culture, based to reject and deny all forms of injustice, is actually to head off and confront all these atrocities. Your Highness and Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, what the kingdom enjoys in terms of its religious status and its geostrategic position, with its leading role in the political and the international arena in supporting sustainable development, makes the kingdom actually is a leading and the part and parcel partner, especially for the African countries. The Africa actually is an open investment place for and a promising land, due to the fact that it has this all potential in terms of human resources, natural resources, and its vital readiness in achieving its Agenda 2063 and building the sustainable development. All this development stands in the continent actually will boost the partnership with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and this will, of course, will create opportunities for development projects in many avenues, especially the infrastructure, renewable energy, and digitization, and other areas. And this actually, this positive partnership actually reflects the cordial ties, the close ties between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the African countries, and also their mutual keenness and interest to face all these challenges facing them in terms of economy, in terms of politics. Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, actually, what brings in common between the Mauritanian Republic with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in terms of all the deeply rooted ties and historical ties, it's quite actually beyond count. All these ties actually brought about this strategic partnership and cooperation and continuous coordination. I actually have to say and commend the continuous and indefinite support we receive from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that provided to our country from the kingdom, and also to the whole people in the African continent in contribution of building sustainable development, and also helping us to face the issue, the crises facing the world. I also like to commend the leading role played by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in terms of the project, and especially in the Green Middle East. In this context, I will also support the kingdom's interest to hold Expo 2030, and also we support the kingdom in its initiative in convening this summit, and would like and express our best wishes for this summit. Would like to diversify all forms of cooperation between the kingdom and the African countries. Thank you for listening. Well, I thank the President of Mauritania for his speech, and I give the floor, I give the Prime Minister of Mauritius the floor, Dr. Mohammed Anwar Hosnu, to deliver his speech.
Your Royal Highness, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Your Excellency Mr. Azadi Assoumani, President of the Union of Comoros and Chairperson of the African Union, Excellencies, Head of State and Government, Head of Delegation, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allow me at the outset to express my deepest gratitude and sincere appreciation to His Majesty King Salman bin Abdulaziz, custodian of the two holy mosques, and to His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for the excellent arrangement made as host country for this important conference, the first African-Saudi Summit. The professionalism with which such arrangement has been made comforts us that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia would be the ideal host for Expo 2030. Excellencies, this important meeting is taking place against the backdrop of several challenges. When the world and our development path are being disrupted by several events. After enduring the negative impact of the global pandemic, we embarked which itself became mired by other crises, including the ongoing conflict in several parts of the world, and recently, the escalation of the Palestinian conflict, particularly in Gaza, which has very quickly become a humanitarian tragedy. Aside from the gross human rights violations, these disruptions are seriously affecting the supply chains globally. The humanitarian tragedy unfolding in Gaza cannot leave us impassive, and any such attitude on our part shall violate our own commitment to the international rule of law and our adherence to international humanitarian and peace instruments. I seize the opportunity to extend our heartfelt condolences and our solidarity with the families of all victims in this conflict. Mauritius has consistently supported the legitimate aspiration of the Palestinian people to a statehood, which invariably pass to the establishment of a prosperous state of Palestine within secured and recognized borders, living in peace alongside with the state of Israel. We therefore join the international community as well as its August Assembly in our call for an immediate ceasefire as well as an early resolution of this conflict. Excellencies, the effect of those conflicts have further compounded the already difficult situation with which the developing countries were already facing. The disruption has slowed the growth in most African countries, and urgent joint action is therefore needed. We welcome the Riyadh Declaration, which seeks to address the numerous challenges such as food and energy security issues, infrastructure, development and connectivity, and above all, peace and security. The 6 African island states of the African Union, which contribute the least to global warming, but yet suffers the most from it, have seen a regression in the economic development, not only due to external peace and security factors, but also by climate change. For us, this is an existential threat that requires emergency action. From this perspective, we would urge the Africa-Saudi Partnership to dedicate adequate attention to the plight of the African seeds so that a dedicated plan of action tailored to our needs could be implemented as quickly as possible. In the same spirit, we welcome the Saudi Green Initiative, which I'm sure will be of tremendous help for the countries suffering from climate change and global warming. Excellencies, the African island states have since our independence been proactive in charting our own development path, and we are glad that we have achieved a certain level of economic development that has instilled confidence in our people to continue to work harder for our prosperity. In this context, while we do welcome the establishment of a dedicated funding for the needs of African states, we also eagerly look forward to building stronger collaborative ventures with our partners in Africa and the Arab world on a mutually beneficial basis. A strong partnership is the way forward. To overcome the above-mentioned problem, we need to work in close collaboration and explore all avenues of cooperation. This is why we value the Africa-Saudi partnership, and we look forward to a constructive, meaningful, and effective engagement and partnership so that we can all move forward and prosper together in peace and security. With this, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind attention.
أشكر معالي على كلمته. والآن أدعو فخامة الجنرال محمد إدريس ديبي الرئيس الانتقالي لجمهورية تشاد لإلقاء كلمته فليتفضل.
General Price Olibi, the transitional president of Gabon, to deliver his speech.
Merci. Son Altesse le roi Suleiman Ben Abdelaziz, serviteur des deux saintes mosquées, Son Altesse le prince héritier
Your Highness Crown
Mohamed
Prince,
Ben Suleiman,
Your
frère
Majesty,
Azali,
King
président de
of
l'Union
Kingdom
de
of Saudi Arabia, colleagues, excellencies, the leader of Como and the African Union, the chairman of the African Union, distinguished guests, highnesses, excellencies, leaders of states, and the heads of delegates. After your permission, I would like to, before I start my speech, I would like to have a moment of silence for the Palestinian casualties. Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Allah, God, for allowing us to be here at this historical summit in the city of Riyadh, and I would like to express my thanks to the custodian of the two holy mosques and His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for organizing this summit in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Despite this summit being held during a troubling time, nonetheless, we must seek to buttress the cooperation and enhance our partnerships to face these challenges, even with what we see in human loss. I call upon supporting the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and African nations, that we speak up about the best ways to support development for the mutual benefit of both countries, and the partnership based on mutual interests and respect of all parties in various areas: political, economic, trade, humanitarian, and environmental. That being said, the Republic of Chad, for many years, has a lot of partnerships and agreements with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we have a lot of agreements between the Republic of Chad and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In addition to the summit, the economic summit that was conducted yesterday, of these agreements is an agreement for protecting the investments, which is very important to us, and it is to protect the natural resources in our country. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite all investors of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to come to the Republic of Chad to invest in our industries, because there is a good environment for trade and investment. Before I conclude, I would like to say that we are in a transitional period in the political realm, and it is a sensitive time, and there's a lot of challenges, and we would like to go back to the Constitution via national dialogue. Despite that, we also are desirous and are willing, are not desirous, but are willing to partner with other countries to support us, and are desirous for the support of neighboring countries. Moreover, this period cannot be resolved without the support of our friends and our fraternal fraternal nations, because partnership is very important at this time. And we are saddened to see the war in Sudan, which affects greatly on the economic and social status situation in Chad. So I take this opportunity to mention that there is a lot of displaced citizens of Sudan, and we have called multiple times to resolve the issue, and Chad is providing the necessary support. However, this support is not enough to rectify the situation and to sustain all of these displaced peoples, and we are requesting your support to face these situations. And the current aid that we are receiving is not enough. And it is important that we do not leave anybody on our land that does not have the necessary and requisite protections. I would also like to note our appreciation to the custodian of the two holy mosques and His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and the government of Saudi Arabia and its people for their comprehensive support in every visit we have had to this friendly nation, and I thank you all for the warm welcome and your understanding.
Thank His Excellency for the speech. Now I give the floor to His Excellency General Brice Oligui, the Transitional President of Gabon, to deliver his speech.
Sa Majesté le Roi, Salman Ben Abdelaziz Al Saoud, serviteur de deux saintes mosquées,
Salman bin Abdelaziz,
Son Altesse Royale,
Your Royal Highness, Crown Prince, Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdelaziz, Your Excellencies, the heads of states, African states, and ministers, distinguished guests, on this occasion, I deliver this speech, and I appreciate the custodian of the two holy mosques and His Royal Highness Crown Prince for their kind invitation to Gabon to attend the first summit. This invitation is a remarkable one to revive the relations, the brotherly relations and the friendly relations between the two countries, both countries, and I'm pretty sure and confident that we lay the foundation and the groundwork for the economic cooperation, the custodian of the two holy mosques, distinguished guests, excellencies. As you know, Gabon has opened since August 2023 a new realm for social and economic development, and I call upon strongly that Gabon will fulfill its commitment and with the big honor, I would like to draw your attention that the World Bank and IMF will respect our sovereignty, and for the Saudi Development Bank and the debts that for the French group has been estimated, and the debt for the Saudi Development Bank and for the Islamic Bank, we have fulfilled such debts. So within 2 months, we have maintained our reputation with the international partners, and Gabon is one of the fast-growing economy in the region, and we have created conducive and favorable environment for investment. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, regarding the Palestinian crisis, Gabon is expressed deep concern of this grim situation, and we support and advocate upholding of international laws, because war wouldn't be a means of putting an end to the dispute. And we maintain our situation and position, which is two-state solution coexisting in peace and prosperity, and within the borders recognized by international instruments and international conventions. And I would like to express the agreement and the support of Gabon for the candidacy of the kingdom for Expo 2030. And I express my hope that this summit will open new era of cooperation between the two countries regarding the infrastructure, industry, and the progress in different venues of developments. I hope that this summit will achieve success, and Allah the Almighty will guide us and help us to achieve what is in the best benefit of our two nations. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency. Now, I give the floor the President of Malawi to deliver his speech.
Your Majesty, Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saudi, custodian of the two holy mosques, King of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Your Royal Highness, Prince Mohammed bin Salman Abdulaziz, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency Azar Asmani, President of the United Republic of the Comoros and Chairperson of the African Union, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Your Excellency, Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Your Excellency, Chairperson of the Commission of the African Union, Excellencies and all heads of regional organizations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we gather here at a critical inflection point in the history of global diplomacy. As such, the timing of this inaugural Saudi-Africa summit could not be more appropriate. And so I congratulate His Majesty Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saudi, custodian of the two holy mosques and sovereign of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman Abdulaziz, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, as well as the government and the people of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for the vision to organize this important summit and for the exceptional hospitality you have accorded us here in Riyadh. Just 2 borders north of us, an armed conflict rages on, causing misery to thousands of innocent civilians, raising global tensions, and requiring an urgent resolution from cooler heads that know how to broker peace. One such agent is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which has already proven itself instrumental in maintaining international peace and security in this region, and has a long track record of peacefully gathering millions of people from all over the world in celebration of a treasured religion whose followers greet everyone with a pronouncement of peace. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is therefore a strategic partner for Africa in pursuit of the African Union's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, whose 7 aspirations include the desire for a peaceful and secure Africa that practices peace within its region and promotes peace everywhere. This summit is a rare opportunity for Africa and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to build an alliance for peace on the bedrock of the history, the heritage, and hopes they share in common. For peace is the only context in which global development and prosperity thrive. Thankfully, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has already laid a strong foundation for such an alliance, for it already has embassies in over 30 nations in Africa. In the case of Malawi, diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia have existed since 1999, growing from strength to strength and bearing much fruit. One such fruit is the humanitarian assistance worth $500,000 that Malawi received from the King Salman Center for Relief and Humanitarian Aid following the devastating effects of Tropical Cyclone Freddy. Another is the ongoing development of Malawi's infrastructure by the Saudi Fund for Development, as is the case in other African countries. Malawi, the warm heart of Africa, has great potential for mining, energy, and other areas, as well as an energetic, youthful population. As such, the partnership between Malawi and Saudi Arabia will unlock endless socioeconomic possibilities for my country and Africa. I'm therefore honored to be here in person to convey to His Majesty the thanks of 20 million Malawians and to pledge my support of Saudi Arabia's efforts to achieve peace in Africa and in this region. Shukran jazilan.
أشكر فخامته على كلمته. والآن أدعو فخامة الدكتور محمد يوسف المنفي رئيس المجلس الرئاسي الليبي لإلقاء كلمته فليتفضل.